Good. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. What have you been doing with yourself since the little misunderstanding over Billy Shawcroft? I heard you'd gone into a monastery. Tony nodded. I did, only I didn't stay long. I couldn't be doing with all the praying and getting up early. Oh, I kind of liked wearing those robe thingies. Cassocks, I suggested. No, it's true. He gave me an angry glare. But the thing is, I thought a monastery'd be more fun. I'd heard they like brewed beer and stuff, but my lot didn't. They dug gardens and kept bees and went to church every day, several sodden times. We didn't even get Sundays off. I mean to say, it's a bit bloody over the top, isn't it? Hobbes nodded, rocking back in his chair, which, teetering on two legs, emitted alarming creaks. They wouldn't even let me eat chocolate, so after about 6 weeks, I gave them the shove. That's funny, said Hobbes. I was informed that they asked you to leave following some inappropriate remarks to a nun. Tony flinched. That's not true. Well, it is sort of true, though it wasn't my fault, was it? I thought nuns would be a bit like the girls in Naughty Naturist Nuns. Have you seen it? Hobbes shook his head. Ah, you should, said Tony, and sighed. Bloody good it is. But they're nothing like that. All I did was tell one of them about it, and next thing I knew, the chief monk was calling me in for a bollocking. Afterwards, we agreed I wasn't quite ready for monastic life. Do you know, monks aren't supposed to think carnal thoughts, not even about nuns. So I left. Incredible, said Hobbes. Do go on. Then I did some stuff, this and that, you know. I worked as a barman, worked in his shop, worked my way back here. And who are you working for now? Asked Hobbes, as P.C. Wilkes entered bearing 3 steaming mugs of tea. He placed them on the table, departing with a grin, which I ignored. No one, said Tony. His hand shook as he reached for a mug and spilled a few drops. Taking a sip, he pulled a face and put the mug down. And yet you had thousands of pounds in your wallet, Hobbes pointed out. How come? Tony took another slurp of tea. I've got generous friends. Like Philip Waring. Yeah, he's a good mate. Very generous. How long have you known him? Years and years. Hobbes, taking a gulp from his mug, turning towards me, grimaced. Nearly as bad as yours, he said, turning back towards Tony, with what I guess he believed was a friendly smile. Years and years. Really. I find that an intriguing remark. You know, of course, that Mr. Waring only came to live in Cirencester a year ago, but I suppose you must have met him somewhere else. Yeah, Tony nodded, slouching. That's right. Where did you meet him? Oh, so long ago I can't quite remember. Try. I had an inkling Tony wasn't being completely honest. I'm thinking. His eyes widened as Hobbes stared at him with a deepening frown that threatened to rival the Grand Canyon. Do go on, Hobbes growled softly, like a lion on the hunt. Where did you first meet your most generous friend, Mr. Waring? I'd love to know. Blackpool. Tony was no longer slouching, but leaning back as far as he could. Blackpool. Hobbes sounded almost amused, though his brows were still furrowed. Yeah, Tony clutched at straws. Blackpool. I was working on the, donkeys, and we got chatting, and he invited me for a beer. Yeah, that's how it was. What did you chat about? This and that. He nodded as if reassuring himself of the facts. Deck chairs, candy floss, seaweed, those sorts of things, I expect. Hobbes snorted. Of course, that makes it all clear. Just one thing. When exactly was this? 20 years ago. Tony, scratching his head theatrically, screwed up his weaselly face. More or less.